obviously the people who took the fort from the Stag Lord, that would be us, are the ones who control the situation.
Lord Agnes's father.
Then we should have no problem gaining entry, I suppose.
Yeah.
Actually, no. We will have no problem gaining entry.
Yeah. Yes, we've been gone for a few days, so we need to go and find out what arrangements we have to for sleeping and whatnot. But will you be staying long?
I will be staying until I am comfortable things are at hand and working as intended. However long that may be. I feel more confident speaking with you that I will be returning soon rather than later.
Perfect. It's our intention to not be here too long either. We do need to finish making arrangements. This all happens very quickly, and we've surprised ourselves with how well it's gone against the Stag Lord and our other adventures.
I will, of course, be consulting with my party on the best way forward, but the fall of the Stag Lord is in the best interest of all of us. And whatever the tale and the truth is, we shall get to the bottom of and find a way to grow our kingdom further. So with that, he will motion towards the door and move past you all towards the door. And as he reaches the front of the gate, a human looking woman who's standing on the other side of the gate calls out and says, "Who approaches?" And the man says, "I am Xanus. I am here on official order from Restov under charter of Lady Jamandi to speak with the, shall we call it, leader of the fort. The new leadership, we understand, has come in, and we would like to be acquainted and welcome them." And so see that she gives a very kind of furrowed brow, doesn't know how to make of this. It's unusual for so many of you to be coming here. Who is in charge? And so Xanus says, "I am." And she says, "Two of you can enter." And she'll let in, Xanus will motion to, how do you say, Chris, his name? Is it Idril or?
Yeah, Idril.
Idril. He'll motion to Idril to follow into the fort.
Put down or roll up the quill and the parchment and follow, picking up the robes as he goes.
Okay, so the gate kind of, the rest of you step back and let them step forward, and they, after a moment, they unlatch the gate and they let Xanus and Idril in, and closing the gate behind them. Anything the rest of you are doing just while this is unfolding? Or any thoughts between the group as you're watching this unfold?
So did the woman leave her post to go unlatch the gates, or was it someone else who was there and the woman is still standing at the...
She unlatched the gate and let them in. It appeared just her. They're now inside, and she latched it behind her, and then so I don't know, I guess at this point, if you guys are trying to see through the gate to see what transpires, you can try to make perception checks. Unless you have some other action you want to...
I'm just going to wait for her to go back up to the top and then...
Okay. When you enter into this fort, and I'll describe it a little bit for you, Chris, this was an older fort that has now fallen and been ransacked and changed hands several times over the last several years even, and it shows all of the battle scars of that. The perimeter is a 15-foot wall of spiked wood mainly, with now also some barbed wire and sharp sticks and things that are connected to make it difficult to climb. The interior, what you're looking at here, was the original structure that looked like it was a stone tower and had been toppled at some point and is now only able to be climbed through a stairway that's inside of this room here that you would be able to see into clearly. And you notice as you're looking around that there are several people. I'm trying to see what your token sees, but you should notice there's a couple of riding horses that have been mounted inside the gate, and you notice a handful of people that appear to be moving around and doing things inside of the fort as you're being escorted through it. But the interior walls here have crumbled, and what remains is there is a floor, or a ceiling I should say, above you as you're brought into this room now. So you've now been brought into the heart of the building, and Xanus says, let me do the talking.
So really quick, when we walked into the fort and we walked by the party that was outside, what was their overall, just trying to get a perception as to, because they were talking about, it seems like they were trying to get into the fort, right?
Yeah, you thought that they were also trying to figure out what was going on at the fort, right? Because I think
I didn't get any like weird, like they were like incredulous, they were upset that this fort, like they were being held out of this fort or anything.
that's a good question for you guys. What would you have been expressing, and what would you have made known?
I don't think Reckla would be too surprised by the reception, knowing what he knows.
Yeah,
I
Voldarius
think-
is definitely impassive, just very
Yeah.
casually standing there, unamused, unimpressed, just looking around at, noting some of the changes that he's seen with it. Paid attention to the interaction and hasn't made any sort of overture to move closer or interfere in any way. He is definitely just very calm.
There you go.
I'm swapping for owl bears.
You're keeping an eye out for Beaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't
Reckla-
delete Beaky off the map, so Beaky's name is like sticking off the top of the map, and I can't remove him.
Reckla might want to whisper to one of his friends, I wonder if Tartuccio did anything to the back door.
Good thought.
No,
Something to consider for sure. While that's happening, Xanus and Idril are brought in. Basically, the hunter brings you into this next room and says, we got a lot from Restov here to speak with His Highness. And one of the men who's moving around in that room gets up and says, visitors from Restov, welcome. We are fortunate to have your company. How is the travel and the road now that we have rid you of the pest? And Xanus will kind of ball the situation before he responds. It says, the road was well, friend. Who are you? And he says, I am of course a lieutenant under our master, and I operate our facility here. I will show you around, and my name is Festin. I am Xanus, and this is Idril. We are here to speak with whoever is in charge, so we appreciate the offer of the tour. However, we really need to get to the heart of the matter and speak with someone who can make decisions. Is that you or someone else? I guess you seek to consult the master then. I shall see if he's available. And he walks off this way for a few moments out of the view. Idril, as you and Xanus are now standing in this room, you guys do hear, and there's a couple others sitting in the room, just looks like doing sort of some tasks. There is a pantry in here, and looks like this might be a place where they convene to eat sometimes. You're seeing that, and you're also seeing that there is a large gate, like a swinging gate, that's over on this side of the room that you're in. There's a rubbled, fallen in part of the room as well, but it's being used for cooking and other things as well. They use all the rocks as seats. So you're getting the sight of the first time of this fort from the inside, and it's not very impressive. It's not got a lot of sturdiness to it. It's not very organized or in great condition from what you would have hoped for, having been sent here just to try to hopefully secure the place.
And yeah, and these people, are they wearing leathers, half plate? What kind of, are they pole arms, crossbows, sword and shield? Are they men-at-arms, or are they just ruffians?
Yeah, you get a sense that there's a mixture of hunter types that have bows and more weapons that you would expect to be used with other practicality. But then you also sense that there are some mercenaries amongst the group, some of them that are carrying long swords and look like studded leather, a little bit more combat ready types. So it seems like he's almost got this mixture, this cross mixture of perhaps they're mercenaries or perhaps they're bandits who were supplanted and came back with their tail between their leg, and somehow or other he's worked with them. But he definitely just get this sense that it's a cross mix of different groups that are here. But the one that you spoke with, who said he was in charge of provisions and the operation of the fort, he seemed to be more of the mercenary type.
Idril will lean in, Xanus, and whisper, "They've just taken over this fort, and yet they already call him master? It's a bit odd."
Yeah.
And then I'll check to see, did I hear about the attack on the house that sparked this whole thing?
You would have heard some word in Restov that the Stag Lord had been killed, and I think that you came here to confirm that in part, and then also to see the state of the fort and whether or not it could be an asset for Lady Jamandi and her ambitions. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay, yep, break out the parchment and the writing utensil and start taking notes again.
Okay. And as you're taking a few notes down, after a moment or two, you hear this voice, kind of shrill voice, cut through the calm suddenly and say, "Visitors from Restov, welcome, welcome, welcome to my fort. I am pleased, and it is our pleasure to have you here. Please send Lady Jamandi my condolences and my congratulations, for I understand that her political ambitions have taken a leap forward and a step back. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Please, friends, have a drink." And he motions, and Xanus holds his hand up. He says, "We're not thirsty right now, friend. And what is your name?" "I am Xanus." And the gnome says, "Ah." He bows to you and says, "I am Tartuccio. I am here on a charter from Lady Jamandi." And I think, Idril, you would be able to confirm that. You would probably have a list that would have a list of all the charters that Lady Jamandi has awarded, and his name, Tartuccio, would be on that list, as would many others.
And we'll roll up the notes. Actually, I'll just jot down the note regarding validation.
Very well, Tartuccio. You seem to have established yourself, but there's one thing that we still wish to know, and that is, how have you defeated the Stag Lord, and what has become of him? And Tartuccio kind of, at that point, is drinking his drink, regardless. Maybe he even actually has all three of the drinks now, because they were poured expecting you to drink them, and now he will have to. He begins to almost turn on this performance mode, if you will. And actually, I'm going to have you do a perception check, Idril, while he's telling this. But he says to you that I have been working together with another party, another group that loosely has been working with me to undermine the bandits in the area and the Stag Lord. And I concocted a plan, and we've executed the plan. We have rid the Stag Lord, and in the vacuum of his power being gone, I have stepped in and asserted myself to take on leadership of this strategic location.
Not paying attention to him at all.
And yeah, he'll go on too. It will be a very lengthy description of how now he has, and what his whole story sounds like to you is that when he left Rostov, he allied loosely with several different other groups that were chartered with Lady Jamandi, and he essentially concocted a plan to have them begin to undermine and trick the bandits out of their fort to then so that he could then occupy it and take it over for Lady Jamandi. So that's his general description. Nothing else that he speaks about going any further beyond the fort or any other parts of the region. He really makes it sound like he came here with this objective in mind and did everything that in his power to do this for Lady Jamandi is the gist.
And there's no bodies. They didn't try to retake it. Looking around, kind of confused, having looked up from taking notes.
Oh, you're looking for bodies. We have dispatched of the Stag Lord's body. We saw the reaction that everyone had to him and decided to burn it. So we burned his body along with many others in the field. On your way in, you may have seen the pile of their remains that we've left to warn the others not to return. So, again, the battle was quick with the Stag Lord. I did manage to use a spell on him and confuse him, which led to my advantage, and I was able to disembowel the bastard.
What spell did you use on him to confuse him and confuddle him?
Oh, a man of magic, I see. Actually, can you make a Arcana check? Or I think it's Arcana. Yeah, Arcana. How did that happen? Oh, okay. I didn't know you could pop out if you double click the windows in Roll20, you can actually pop out like the chat and the journal and all of that.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Oh, I only popped out my character.
I just accidentally. Yeah, I only knew you could do the sheets, so that's cool. The Arcana check is good, so he's gonna tell you. Let me grab his sheet real fast. It's a killer spray, of course. I think you may have. Is there a sense motive? Skill? Is it that? I'm wondering what it is.
Isn't it with perception?
Unless you have a special skill for
Oh,
it.
yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Looking at your sheet, too.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so you have that as.
I don't know that it's. I put it in as an action. I didn't know if it was actually something that's.
It's an action anybody can do. Yeah,
Okay.
And it's basically just a perception check that I'm supposed to roll. Okay. Yeah, I think that here's what you feel is that everything he's telling you technically sounds true, but you do feel like he's just a little bit full of shit.
Mm.
You can't help but feel that.
Yeah, a color spray would allow this little guy to bow somebody as quote unquote fierce as the Stag Lord, right?
Yeah, that doesn't sound. It's plausible, but not possible. Not probably highly possible. I think Xanus is doing his own thoughts on this, and he's a lot less studious than you. He's just looking at the situation from more of a military viewpoint and who's in charge and are there enough people here and that sort of thing. And he's firing off questions like that towards Tartuccio while you guys are standing outside now. Another group of people are approaching on the roadway behind you. And this time it looks like 3 people who come approaching towards you, and once they come riding up within about 50 feet of you or whatever, and they are on horseback, they slow down and call out to you, "Why do you lurk here?" Noticing you all just loitering on the hill.
Are they wearing any sort of markings or colors?
Yes, if you want to do let's see. Actually, just do perception checks. Wow. Okay, so yeah, I think you guys notice that the way that these three are dressed seems pretty exotic to you. They don't look like someone that's from Restov or Brevoy or the Gnarl Marches or any of the areas that you're familiar with. They don't even look like the Southerners that you saw or that are with you that have their own distinct look. They definitely stand out in a group to you as being just a little bit more formal looking. They are wearing half plate, so they've got a real shiny kind of metal armor on, and that makes plenty of noise when they ride around. They don't seem to care about making noise though, because they do look pretty sturdy, the three of them. And I think what Dallett and even Reckla would recognize Fennwarden too is that they seem like they're something about them almost seems like they're probably like high level, like they could be a part of a military, or you're not sure, like maybe they're guards or knights or something like that is what you feel, but from wherever they're from. And I think the thing that you notice, Dallett, would be that one of them is carrying a sword that appears to be an Aldori dueling sword. Yeah. So that would stand out.
I'll say to them that we're here to see the Tartuccio in this fort. I myself am a sword scion and take out my Aldori dueling sword and try to make friends that way.
So you're gonna reach for your sword.
Maybe he's
and-
going to present his sword. I don't know.
I'm just trying to give you a chance to
No,
clarify
unbuckle
how
my
you want to
sword.
do that. Okay.
Unbuckle my sword and leave it in its sheath and
Okay.
ask them what they're doing here as well.
I would say that's probably diplomacy. Let's try diplomacy, because I think you're trying to connect with them and let them know, hey, I'm a guy that has one of those too.
Yeah. Trying to be a little chipper here. Oh, there it is. All right, cool.
Yes, we were also called by Tartuccio, but we will not be waiting. And so they just ride by. They don't seem to acknowledge the link with the sword. But so these guys coldly approach the front gate, and you hear a quick exchange, and the gate opens. They let them in, and we'll go back inside. You would hear this now, Idril, as the gate has opened, and there's been a little bit of motion and conversation going on. And the front, Tartuccio says, "If you'll excuse me, I'll be right back. I have some other guests arriving." And he'll walk by you at this point and be giving both of you a very close look, just really checking you out to see what you're carrying and what you might be writing, even on your paper, Idril. So I don't know if you're have awareness of people reading over your shoulder or covering up what you're writing, but I think Tartuccio would not even try to hide the fact he's trying to see what you're doing.
Isn't he like 3 feet tall?
Yeah. Yeah. It wouldn't be difficult, but I'm just saying, would you have that kind of awareness to know to cover your notes or not?
I'm taking plain notes about the absolute shit show that is this fort.
So he walks by you, and he doesn't really get much of a glimpse other than the fact that he could tell that you're doing some serious documentation in his view. And he comes out to this room and he says, "What? You have come quickly. Welcome." And he says, "I have other matters to attend to, but please come this way." And he escorts these gentlemen. You hear them walking around, let's see, for a few moments, getting their horses ready. And then he walks through the room with them all the way towards where he had come from. And so let me grab tokens for these guys real quick.
So it might have just been my misunderstanding, but I thought we were like at the gate ready for the guard to like go back up and to converse like when she first let everyone in. If we had stopped further back and they had approached, I would have gone too. If we've been sitting out there for a little while on the hill a little farther away, and then this other group went up, Darius would be looking to the others and starting to approach the gates.
I got you. Yeah, I might have misunderstood how close you were gonna get, but let me grab one thing here real quick. There we go. Yeah, I think the way I was envisioning it, you all were basically 50 feet or so from the fort whenever the other group, Idril's group, came upon you from Rostov, and you were deciding who was going to approach. And when you all approached, and they were overwhelmed by the numbers, so they turned you all away, and they only let 2 in. And so Xanus asserted himself and brought in his colleague and cut you guys in line, basically, is what happened. And now you can return to the gate and try to speak to
Sure, no, because
the
yeah,
person.
yeah. Once the woman
Yeah.
had stepped away from the gate, I was waiting for her to get back up to the top, and then I was gonna be like, all right.
Yeah.
And now the next group kind of approaches on that to secure our access.
I got you. So yeah,
However,
we'll cut back to that in 1 second. But Tartuccio will escort these fine gentlemen through the main room, past you, Idril and Xanus. So you'll see these kind of definitely warrior type, look dressed a little odd to you. I'm trying to think if, I guess maybe Idril could do a check to see if there's anything you recognize. So if you want to do a perception check as they're walking by you.
Perception or with society?
Society would be good. That's a great idea. There you go.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I just got a funny feeling about these 3, Idril, that they seem to have some type of authority here, and you're not sure why. The way that they carry themselves, or the way Tartuccio seems to be leading them, you just get that.
Give Xanus a cool look, and who are they? Look.
Yeah, and I think Xanus at the same time too is like thinking, well, perhaps more mercenaries, more capable mercenaries. And he's implying that the current lot is not very capable, without trying to openly insult them. But
Did I see the dueling sword?
yes, yeah, you would have seen the dueling sword.
I'll make sure that I tell Xanus about it. One of them, a sword. I don't know if it's a sword lord or what. Well,
Yeah, I think Xanus would actually get his attention. He would be interested to know why this person would carry that.
Heavy hitters for something so new. It's quite odd.
Yes, it's quite odd that someone from afar would carry something from close to our home. We will learn more in the coming days. It seems that our stay may be longer than I had hoped. We get to the bottom of all of this. Tartuccio will return after a few moments to speak with you all and say, "Oh, excuse me, pardon me, my manners. Can I show you around the fort? Is there anything you would like to see?" And look at you both, Idril, if there's anything that stands out to you as something you'd like to see in the fort.
Everything. I need to document all of the changes that need to be made, that have been made. Yes, Lady Aldori wants everything.
Very well. Then my colleague will show you around, and come and find me if you should need anything else. I will be in my quarters.
And one more thing before you leave, before you depart. The Stag Lord, did they have anything on them that we might be able to bring back for proof to the lady?
Yes, this amulet. And he pulls his shirt back, and he's wearing one of the Stag Lord amulets. But and you would have definitely seen these before.
Every one of them has.
Yeah,
right?
so you would have definitely noticed these before. This one is particularly ornate, and instead of being silver, it's actually gold. It's unusual, and it looks pretty fancy to you. I mean, from across the room, I don't know if you have appraisal or anything like that, but from the eye test of where you stand, it looks like a possible clue, but you're not sure, obviously. But he gives you basically full access to the grounds to wander around, but with his follower following you, if you will. So they'll begin to lead you around. Let me bring this guy back out here. And basically, you can walk around anywhere on this first level to investigate, document what's going on, but you'll be shadowed throughout your time. And then I'll cut back to these guys at the front gate now, understanding that you guys might want to now speak with the woman who's guarding the gate who's returned.
Yeah, is anyone else approach with him as is?
Go with.
No, just the looks like this woman that has been guarding the gate is the only one that seems to be doing that. She's standing there now, I guess, staring out at you all. But you're all up on the hill collecting your thoughts, or are you approaching?
No, Voldarius is going to start approaching and just glance back to see who's going with him, and then he's going to beckon Kirth to follow along, at least. He's going to approach.
Who goes there?
Someone with business with Tartuccio.
Oh, what business might that be? And what is your name?
Business of a very important nature that is best suited for Tartuccio himself. Something he's going to want to see.
Let's think. I don't know if you want to do diplomacy or intimidation, however you want to twist that.
Of a diplomacy,
Yeah,
but we're
yeah.
not quite at the point of making threats,
Yeah.
but we're trying this route.
Is implying, yeah, you're implying for sure.
Can I give assistance there too?
Yeah, go ahead if you want. Yeah, because he's actually probably gonna need it.
Yeah.
So what are you also showing him or showing them anything, or are you just saying that to them?
I'm casually spinning the silver Stag Lord medallion around on my hand, and I've got Kirth standing next to me, and I glance down
There
at
you
him
go.
wearing the helmet, and just, there's more going on here.
There are things happening above your pay grade.
Yes, we need to speak to someone above.
I don't know about that, but one minute, and she'll step away.
Excellent.
And come back, and there's a man with her. This is them. So he squints his way, looking through the bars out at you. You have business with Tartuccio. What is your business?
We've got business with Tartuccio, and we've got business with Tartuc. So whichever one of them wants to come out, I suppose it would be fantastic to deal with. Why don't you go ask where Tartuc is? And I look down at Kirth and Draconic. Wouldn't you like to know where Tartuc is?
Yeah, I think that he would definitely at this point he'd turn around and be whispering to her, and it would say, "I think the fort is full, gentlemen."
Funny enough, I actually know that there's more room. I know how much room that fort can handle. It's a strange concept, I know, but I know for sure that there's more room, because there were individuals much larger in there when we killed them all.
2 of you can enter, but you can't enter.
No.
2 of you can enter, but you may not enter. And he's looking at the kobold.
So we'll go and we'll relay this to that there's an imposter sitting in there who is usurping land. Is that what we're going to do? We're going to tell them that there's an interloper threatening this territory?
It is up to you. You may send 2 from your party.
Is Reckla up there, or did Reckla stay back?
Yeah, Reckla would have been too curious to not go up.
Voldarius is going to turn around and give a nod. Time to check the back door.
Sorry, GM. Did Idril hear that as he was walking back to Xanus?
Do a perception check. Let's see if you caught how much of that you did catch. You would have heard something going on at the front door, just whether or not you...
It's got that great open floor concept, so it's like supposed to really disturb a lot of noise from...
Yeah, I think you overheard that some conversation occurred and that there was some attention at the door, but you didn't catch wind of what the context was. So you could definitely insert yourself into it to try to learn more if you feel like you missed something. The other thing is you do have hero points. So you guys get 1 hero point per session, and then you can use it for basically any reroll. So it's something that you have at your disposal too. But yeah, so for now, right now you don't really know exactly what the issue is, but there seems to be a little fluff going on at the front door here. Something stirred a few people up.
I'll park it by Xanus and break out the notes on who all got the writs.
Okay. All right.
Start looking at names.
And what is the going back to Voldarius and the group outside? What is your sense now?
Oh yeah, no, Voldarius is going to where the hidden entrance is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Voldarius is going in. He's getting in.
So you guys, are you all gonna go? Is everybody just so you guys are all gonna head that way?
I would. Yeah. What question? Sorry if I missed it earlier. What time of day is it?
No, I think we didn't really cover that. I think it was late afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if Reckla has this knowledge, but is the back door in plain view of the towers? Are they gonna
Oh
see us
no,
walking
no,
right? Okay.
it's far away.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty far away, and it's over the hills and far away as well. So you'll have a little ways to get there. It's not right around the corner, but you can definitely march to the back door.
Gotcha.
Leaving a distraction either.
But do you want everyone's coming with you, the Southerners and everything?
Maybe the Southerners should stay at the gate. I don't know. What do you guys think?
That might not be bad. Tell them to set up camp and wait for
Our signal.
our signal again. Hate it.
We don't know what
Absolutely
we're gonna
hate
need.
it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No,
I will tell them to stay clear of the zombie area.
Well,
Yeah, that's
I would
right.
thoroughly recommend they stay here on the path. Like set up a little camp there. Like they're waiting for people to come back or something. That's their excuse, their explanation. And then don't wander.
Vitali, I think he was one of your Southerners. He says, if the opportunity presents itself, we will find our way inside.
I'm sure it'll present itself sooner than they think.
Then we will see you again soon. And you all, is Kirth coming with you or staying here?
Oh yeah, no,
Definitely
coming
come with us. Yeah.
All right. You guys head towards this back door, as we call it, and we'll cut back inside to Idril. You've now been able to walk around a little bit. You tried to nose in and see what was going on at the front door, but I think all you were able to ascertain is that they're not letting anyone else in, but you're probably not able to pick up on the tone of or the details of what the accusations were that were lofted through the front gate by Voldarius. So those details maybe you can't catch yet in your documentation, but you would certainly note that there's some issues there, let's say, with gaining entry. Anything else that you wanted to check out in the near term, Idril?
No, it looks like we will go over and stand next to Xanus, take out the parchment with the names of people that got the contracts. Ask, have you met any of them?
That's a great question. So he would look at it and he would sift through the names and he'd say, I've heard of many of them, but I've only met a handful, and Tartuccio is not one of them.
Something is not right. It doesn't add up. The incantation that he speaks of, it is not powerful enough to incapacitate an opponent, and I think he is either misled or he is lying through his teeth.
He seems to have some semblance of control here. I don't know yet what to make of it either. So
Yes.
just keep your eyes peeled. I think it might be of advantage to us to split up a bit and learn a little more separately.
I agreed.
I'm gonna wander off now, and I'll find you again here shortly.
Drill will wander around towards the further end of the compound.
Yeah, so I'm gonna move your token around the exterior of the compound. This should fill in your map so that you're able to see the structure more clearly. As you approach this back side of the fort, you can see where it turns from stonework into woodwork, and there appears to be like a building that's in much better condition than the rest of the tower is, and at least in terms of its current state. And when you get to the back of it, you can see that the steps are being guarded. It looks like somebody's been like purposely posted there, so you definitely find that interesting. I'm gonna keep moving your character around. You're seeing basically a lot of the stone walls and the way that the quality of the exterior is as well, which is not great quality. It's definitely seen better days, but it's still formidable for where it's at, because this is a very barren area and there's not a whole lot here. So you still feel like there's some good things here that could be used, but a big part of you feels like you would start over if you could, as far as that.
He will come here. So those stairs are guarded as well?
Yes. So when you take a look into this room, there's a staircase that goes up, and this seems to be the only other stairs you saw. And there's looks like a hunter type sitting there on the bottom of the staircase, carving something out of a small piece of wood. Kind of sees you poking your head about, lifts their own head up. Hi there.
What's up the stairs?
It's our towers. Will you have a look?
Yes, absolutely. We need to take note of all.
Come with me. And he'll put his carving in his pocket, and lead you up the stairs. And I'll change maps here real quick, because this will help you fill everything in. Oh, and I forgot to show this earlier. The picture of the map is on this. The cutaway view there in the upper right on this map, when I bring you in, is what the map or the fort looks like from the hillside. The steps that you take that lead up get worse and worse as you're climbing them. By the time you reach the top and you see the quality of the structure that they've built here, there's several areas where the stone floor collapsed, and they've built rickety wooden pathways and crosswalks to help them connect and run back and forth between the various towers. Actually have
Quality of construction is less than optimal.
It's you're starting to think that the Stag Lord had his name from being staggeringly bad at building things. It's definitely horrible to your eye, and you're definitely someone that would have a good sense of what's expected. Not that you're like military, but you're shaking your head at this point. Like, how is this livable even, let alone guardable, protectable? You do see, and I don't have all their tokens up here, but each of the towers has somebody leaning and watching. So it does look as if it's fully staffed with soldiers placed strategically around and keeping an eye out down on the outside of the fort itself. But and you're able to walk around up here. He'll tell you to watch your step here, watch your step there. Let's see, there was something I was going to show you real quick here. I've left it on the other map, I think. 1 second. Is it this guy? Yeah, here we go. So while you're up top, Ildred, you're introduced, or at least you get like a head nod from each of the people that are up here working. And am I on the right? You're like looking around, and you look over and you suddenly notice that there's a pile of these little toys sitting on the ground. And over in the corner on the side, you see somebody sleeping. And so, as you're walking around, and obviously it's difficult to walk around quietly up here, the person sits up and sees you approaching, and looks like a really large man who's groggy and awakened, and he's like holding some toys while he was sleeping, and he's got this little pile of toys that are sitting beside him, and he says, "Who are you? I haven't seen you before. I don't know you."
Hello, sir. My name is Idril. Did you craft those?
Some of them.
May I?
Do you know about toys?
Know about crafting?
I think if you want to try a diplomacy check, he may hand you one. He may let you look at one.
Fine. A diplomacy check.
I don't know how diplomatic you are, but we'll see. Let's see. I'm looking for... This is the guy. I think this was the guy. Yeah. Ox. Be careful. And he'll hand you one of the toys to look at. And he'll start, as he sees that you're actually showing interest in them, he's going to start to tell you about them. This one I made when the Stag Lord came, and this one I made when Akiros came, and this one I made when Nagla came. And he just starts reciting. You start to get the sense that he's been a resident of this fort for a very long time. Longer than anyone else you've spoken to.
Lean in. Do you have one that you made when the Stag Lord died?
I do. He'll
You
reach
sh-
over to his pile and he'll pull one out, and when he hands it to you, it resembles an owl bear. Very crudely carved one, but if you make it out to be an owl bear. This one.
Can you tell me, what did the Stag Lord carry on him? Was it just a necklace? What was he most known for?
His bow and his helmet.
His bow and his helmet. What did the helmet look like?
And I think he like looks down at his chest like he would have been wearing one, but he's not wearing a talisman on his neck. Like he's looking around like he should have one to show you. So it's horns and antlers.
Like a stag? Yes?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, good sir. Thank you. No, Idril will pat him on the shoulder. Your toys are magnificent. I hope to make some with you someday.
Thank you. I hope you'll stay. I'll carve you one.
I look forward to it. Thank you very much. And Idril will stand and make his way back downstairs, looking for Xanus.
Okay. All right. So I'll cut back to the other group while you guys have headed off to find your hole in the ground. I forgot. Did you bring or did you leave the Southerners here, right? And so
Yeah.
Kirth is with you. Okay. Yeah, you all retrace your steps fairly well to where the hole was, and you find it. It does look smaller than you remember now that you have to go in it, but it's there, so you can definitely come up with a plan to try to enter. So you'd have to just crawl one person at a time, and you would be prone as you're climbing for a while, or at least crawling for a while through these to get until you would reach hopefully.
Yeah, why don't we'll send Kirth and Reckla in first? Because Reckla is trained in stealth. Actually, no, he's not.
I can go first. I'm trained in stealth.
Okay.
You want me to do a stealth roll?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and do a stealth roll, and then we'll see if we need to have the others roll. Oh. So yeah, I guess anyone who's trying to stealth is gonna have.
I think Reckla would have given up once he heard Fennwarden.
Yeah, you'd had a difficult time being stealthy.
Fennwarden stepped on his cat on the way in.
It's like dragging the bell along or something. Ding every time he steps. But yeah, so you're able to all fit in, although I would say Dallett has to be the most uncomfortable.
Yep.
Number one, just because of what he's wearing, but number two, his size in these tight spaces isn't fun. So you guys can start into and through the hole. You make your way down and into it to where it starts to open up to where Reckla can walk. The others are still maybe on their knees or crawling a little bit, but Reckla is able to walk a little bit and moving around a lot easier than the rest of you. And you reach a point where the path looks like it splits off in 3 different directions. And of course you're not really sure which way's the fort or what, but what would you like to do?
Does anyone remember which way we're supposed to go here?
I have no memory of this place.
Because we followed it out once, right?
Yeah. So you could try tracking if you've got survival. Someone could try to do tracking, or if you've got some other feed or.
Well, there is tracking.
The leopard has scent as an imprecise sense. Can the leopard tell which way our scent?
Oh,
man. Reckla started poking around for tracks.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely that your scent would have been that distinct or long lasting that the leopard would pick it up, but I'd have to read more about what the leopard's skills really are. That's something I gotta learn about. But regardless, Reckla has, I think, got the role that you need to where you can determine between these three that the path on the right would have been the one that you had taken previously. Once you determine that and you start heading back down, you start to see some familiar slime on the walls, almost like a goo or something that was where the ants had lived. And so you're passing through the ant den at this point, and you make your way into a larger, darker, musty opening, which you believe is the basically underneath the fort. So you guys are able to reach that point. And yeah, I think we'll take a mid-session break here. I'll leave you guys in that room, and we'll decide what you want to do in a minute, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes or so and pick up from there.
Cool.
That's good.
Cool. We'll be right back. All right. How are we looking, everybody?
I think we're missing Joe still, maybe.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to dip in 5 minutes when my wife gets home for a couple minutes, but
I'm back.
No problem.
Yep, I'm back.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, all right, no problem. So yeah, we'll pick back up in here. We're gonna go inside the fort. Idril, you're able to return to the first floor of the fort. Let me make sure I'm on the right map.
Yep, making a beeline to Xanus.
And you find Xanus is actually leaning on the wall right where you left him not long ago. And as you walk up, he's saying it'll take months to fortify this place properly. What have you found?
Are those two standing there?
Yeah. Actually, it's just the one. Sorry. This one is not there.
Yep, we'll walk up to this side of Xanus and take out a parchment and quill, scribble a note, and say, I don't think the short one took out the Stag Lord. I need to talk without ears.
Oh, I see. I'm hungry too. And he waves you over, and he leads you over towards this rubble. There's like this rubble area here that was like a makeshift kitchen area where there's some cooking supplies and things strewn about, and a couple of places where you can sit and whisper and not be overheard. And so he says, "What is it?"
So there's a gentleman on the above us. He's been here for a while. I asked him what was so notable about the Stag Lord, and he said his bow and his helmet. The helmet of a stag, horns like a stag. If I remember correctly, there was a short one outside for those people waiting to come in, and they had on a helmet, that of a stag. I don't believe the short one in here actually did what he claims.
I see. Yeah, there's definitely something off about the explanation, but I feel like we may need to take advantage of the current control that he seems to have, and we don't yet know the nature of his alliances.
No, I agree, but it's hard to dance with a liar. You never know what feet they'll step on.
It's good to have facts. This is why we get along. We'll have to find our own shelter barracks for the evening. They've offered the cage across the room, but I declined.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, that's a hard pass from me. Not one for bars.
He'll actually just lean up against the rock where he's at and make it known that he's willing to nap right here if he has to, get some rest. But for now, it's starting to sink in. This is gonna take a while to figure out. He's not pleased. He thought this was gonna be like a slam dunk, and it's not. It's not been that. So he's gonna get a rest, and Xanus nods off by the rocks here as it's getting into like early evening. He's just and I think maybe you've known him long enough to know that the fact that he's calm makes you calm because he's done these things before. Anything else that Idril wants to do, maybe, or investigate before you perhaps rest as well?
Not sure he wants to go wandering around now. Yeah, he's gonna hang out by the fire for a bit.
All right. Underneath and in fact, we have a map over here where you guys were at before. So this was the original time that you were over here, right? See, who am I missing? Reckla. That's not Reckla. Let's see. Here we go.
Do you have Kirth as well?
Kirth. So you've all made your way into this room and exited through the hole in the wall where the giant ant carcass is still on the ground, decaying in some stage of decay. And what's your order right now? It was Dallett,
Reckla.
Fennwarden go next.
I'll let you arrange
You can
yourselves,
have-
but yeah.
Yeah. Darius will bring up the rear so Kirth isn't in the back.
Oh, that's Harek. Yeah, I meant to put Kirth in there.
Eric, back from the dead.
Which direction
That's
are we
gonna
going?
be down here on the map,
Okay.
lower right for you guys who are underground. You've emerged into this cavern, and you now see this decaying dead ant here. And I'm gonna have you do a perception check. So for each of you that are behind, if you're not in the front, because I think Dallett and Reckla will have a normal roll here, but it's going to be more challenging for Voldarius and Fennwarden. See what you do.
Oh my.
Darius had a good roll. Reckla's is good enough, and Dallett, not quite. But okay, Reckla and Voldarius, you feel immediately as you're entering this chamber, or Dallett is, and you're right behind him. There's something else in this room, and you're not sure if it was movement of Dallett, but you feel like you saw something move trying to hide in the shadows, but it stuck out to you, and it looked like a somewhat small crawling creature. I'll say like a 3-foot high, maybe, height to it, and you both felt like you saw it, but it just went in and out of your sight so quick, and as Dallett was stepping into the room, and now you don't see it. So what do you guys want to do?
Are we standing upright? Is everyone able to stand upright in this section?
You can now. This is an open area, so you're all able to be upright. Maybe
I'm gonna
Kirth
throw
still
up
has
some
to
lights.
duck
I
with
never
that
get to use
helmet, though.
this cantrip.
Ah, okay. 4 floating lights, 10 feet apart. And so you're able to suddenly see in the room, and you look around, and on the floor of the room, first you notice not just the ant, but there's a lot of other bodies now laying on the ground that you don't remember being here. In fact, there's about 12 of them that you can see, and they quickly appear to you after you look at them for a moment to be bodies of kobolds.
Not the kobolds from our
The
contingent.
Sootscale?
It looks like Sootscale kobolds, but they don't look like they were... you don't recognize them, you don't remember them being here, and if you take a closer look and get closer to them, you can see that they're entirely... One of them has on the headdress of the chief.
Kidding. All right. I imagine Kirth is going.
So
kind of
you guys
crazy.
have a chance to... Yeah,
Yeah,
you know.
all right. So if I notice that, because I was going to be last in line and have Kirth ahead of me, if that's the case, then I'm going to grab Kirth and in Draconic address him. You're going to want to prepare yourself.
Mhm.
Is terrible sight ahead. I'm not going to sugarcoat it from him. I'm gonna. I want him to be aware. This is not going to be a pretty sight.
Then let's get it over with. And he'll come in and look.
And I'll just remember that we are your friends.
You can, see that he goes through
It's
quite a bit of emotion as he sees it, but at the same time, he also felt really sorry for them because of the fact that Tartuccio had brainwashed them, and he feels lucky to have escaped the cult. So he grits his teeth and grabs his spear and adjusts his gigantic helmet. And
then Voldarius is going to go over and he's going to take up, over the time that we've been together, Voldarius really wanted to learn more about them and their culture and really take the time to find out who they are, since they could talk and they've been around us and they've been fighting with us, they've shed blood with us, they've lost friends with us, really just understand where they're at. And he wants to go over and he's going to take up the headdress, if the headdress is still there, from it and hand it to Kirth for the true chief of the Sootscales.
he'd say, my collection of headdresses grows.
I feel like there's one more at least that we can find up there.
There may not be a home for me anymore. So
You always have a home.
I will be with you. I will be fighting with you.
Once this is all done, we will tend to the dead.
So I think in the midst of some of this, it would have probably, especially to you, Voldarius and Reckla, it would have occurred to you the nature in which these kobolds died looks.
I'm gonna roll it a homicide.
You're basically reading a little bit of that, but it's not hard to read because some of them look like they've been chewed on. Some of their bodies look like they've been completely eaten off of them. But at the same time, you can see that however they died, they may have been trapped down here and succumbed to something, whether it was before or after they were gnawed on. You don't know, but that's your thoughts.
We do still have something moving around in here that's probably what was chewing on them.
Voldarius is going to go ahead and try to detect some metal. See if there's anything maybe that might have been consumed, that there's some metal moving around down here that would let him pinpoint where whatever it was he saw, whatever might have been down here, snacking.
And he just keeps pulling out the detect metal cantrip.
It's way more useful than you might realize sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's proven pretty helpful.
I think in this case, your sense is that there's a lot of metal above you.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing in the room or directly at your level but it does feel like there's metal above you. So, yeah, Kirth is looking around the room, also now cautious of whatever this is that you've seen. But what would you like to do? How would you like to proceed? Are you?
It occurs to me now that if they're down here, that means someone else is aware. The back door seems to be discovered.
True, but they don't know that we know about it.
They don't. We don't know that they don't know. We have to hope that they don't
know what they don't know.
This is going to start getting very circular very quickly.
I'd like to not get distracted by this room. I'd like to get back upstairs to get over that. If we can avoid whatever is hiding.
So,
yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, I don't think Kirth cares about hunting down what's in here either. His revenge is not in this room.
Cool. Let's move
He's
forward.
on for moving on then. Here we go. It wasn't owlbear size, correct?
No.
Okay, then we're good. Once we can cross that off the list.
Definitely looks like a smaller bite. than an owlbear too. I'll
Yeah.
say, not to spoil it, but okay. So you guys head. There's a basically the way that you came in before is there was like a ladder beneath the bed that led underneath the Stag Lord's bed, and you can make your way through this chamber to that ladder, which is down here at the base of this room. And yeah, and you make your way there. Nothing seems to appear or approach, but you're at the ladder. And I think you would realize that it's evening at this point. So you might not know exactly what to expect coming into the bedroom area. But
I think we know exactly what to expect. Put up purple banners outside already. He's probably redecorated the room too.
yeah, it was a bed on hinges. What's the plan here then? Are you approaching that? Are you going to try to climb up and go through?
You want to try to stealth up and open the door?
I mean, if the bed is the bed is the door, we're gonna. I don't think we have a lot of choice. I think we just have to go forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we need to investigate at the very least to see if we can get the door open. Maybe they've barred it or something. So let's investigate that.
Okay, Dallett, you climb up the ladder stealthily, and you're able to see that there's like there's a crack in the hinge, and you can see through on at least two sides, so you can see straight ahead of the bed that there's someone there. So let's see, let me put you actually on the map where you can see this. So I just dropped you over there, basically on the bed. You can see that there's these two humans that are dressed. They're the two humans that crossed by you actually when you were waiting out front. Two of them are hanging out in this room, and obviously you can't see what's on top of the bed to know if there's someone up there, but you're able to see that.
Is it the Sword Lord and his companion?
Yeah.
Show me your door.
It worked so well before.
I was not expecting people to be in the room. All right, I'm going to go back down and see what everybody else wants to do. If we just want to force our way up and surprise them.
It comes down to a matter of when do we want the conflict to kick off.
One thing that you, as you're at the top of the ladder, you do overhear a conversation, Dallett, and one name that you picked out that you heard in the conversation was Iravetti. And you've heard that name before, but you're not exactly sure where you heard that name before, but you just remembered hearing that maybe once before, and as you climb back down the ladder to see the others, maybe that's like something you would repeat because it stuck out to you of all the things that they were saying.
Okay, yeah, I'll drop down and let everybody know the Sword Lord and his companion are in the room. They mentioned Iravetti? I don't know if anyone's on the bed. I didn't try to lift it up. Yeah. Do we want to try to force the bed up and just see what happens?
You guys have... Does anyone have, like, knowledge, any lore knowledge or anything like that?
I have warfare lore.
Chesed and cooking.
I have farming lore. I'm sure that's good for something.
Did you say farming lore?
Farming, yes.
Wow.
Very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's... Yeah, for right now, what would you guys be thinking? You've got people in the room.
Could wait until the morning when they leave the room. Maybe it'll get in easier then. But I'll let them off the confrontation for a round. They'll come running into the room. So it's not
Any other ideas?
If we're not going to force our way in, I at the very least want to go up and try to listen in on their conversation.
Okay. So you can do if whoever's going to go back up and wants to stealth their way up to try to listen in.
Do that.
going on again.
Oh.
I'm going to hero point that.
Okay. Good. This is a good time to use a hero point and to see one in use.
Yup.
Oh my.
So unreal. Look at Roll20 doing its thing. Okay. So as you are climbing back up to get yourself in position to listen to the conversation, notice that they stop talking after a moment and that they're looking around at one another oddly as you're creaking and doing whatever you're rattling on the thing itself. And they say they're looking towards the bed now, and you see suddenly two little legs come off the side of the bed in front of you and stand up. These two little legs, and this little guy is like, something just rattled. And so the other two guys are like looking, and he's, show me, man. And so they go over towards it. So I imagine as this is going on, your sense would be to either grab
I'm
the
going
bed.
to close the door and just try to. I'm gonna try to stealth back down the ladder.
That makes sense. So if you can basically stay quiet. Yeah, so you think you did a better job. You did a much better job going down than going up. But at the same time, maybe not as good as you could do. And
Yep.
suddenly, yeah, they rip the top of this bed up, and you hear a voice call from the top, "What goes there?" And let's see, you would have been able to, because I'm just trying to I'm going to put you back down on the bottom map. You'd be able to, because do any of you have, I imagine that you guys don't have a light or a torch, but
Reckla cast the dancing lights
yeah.
down.
That was in the other
Yeah, so
room.
you do have some light in there, but you don't have light in this room. I don't think you do. So that kind of helps.
They're
So
just seeing darkness.
yeah, when the door first opens, they're not seeing anything but darkness. So if you guys see Dallett come back down, what are you doing, Dallett, to
The
give
look on
them
his face.
the
Oh,
information?
they know we're here. They know we're here.
The cat is out of the bag.
They're really like running into each other, bumping off of each other, all panicking in the jungle to get out of the way.
Yeah, he's a little bit flustered for sure. But how would you all like to react to that? We will roll initiative here in just a second.
Fennwarden is going. He's got his short bow. He's going to motion to his companions. Should we take these guys out?
I think we should see if they come down.
Yeah.
I think if they come down, we try to subdue them. Take them out if we have to.
Do we want to start killing them? I feel like it'd be better to just try to.
That's why I'm saying subdue. And,
negotiate.
Unconscious is subdued too.
Yeah, I think that would be for the best.
Maybe
Well,
Let them, if they
come down and we isolate just a few of them like that. That'd be really nice.
Dallett's gonna stay at the bottom of the ladder.
So for the others then who are taking on the strategy of wait and see, I guess we'll just have you do stealth to stay hidden and to stay quiet.
No problem.
You happy with
You
that?
are in the back, at least, Voldarius.
Someone want to roll for Kirth?
Yeah, I'll roll for Kirth. I think I even have his character sheet up.
1, 2, 3. So you guys are doing your best to stay hidden. When the door flips open, some light does shine down from above, but the shadow ends quickly, and you're all back deep enough. For a moment, you're just all holding your breath, waiting to see what's going to happen. And you don't hear anybody getting onto the ladder. And you hear suddenly one of the voices carries out, "You're just getting fat, you dumb gnome." You hear Tartuccio, "Mind your manners. You'll get paid." And it's probably the damn cat. Maybe. And he shuts the lid, and it gets dark again. So you guys are back beneath, having escaped that further search.
Maybe we chill down here for a little while.
We want to try to wait till morning and then go up again.
Yeah, at least until the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. That's true, because we know now that Tartuccio's sleeping on the bed.
Yeah. We probably have to wait until
Ooh.
he
Maybe
gets
there's
out.
a way we can just snatch him from underneath. Just pull him through the bed.
Do you guys have
Yep.
any spells that are subduing?
Let me see what my spell repertoire looks like. Daze is the closest I got, I think.
Best I would have would be command, which probably a high likelihood of a gnome not being that susceptible to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I was thinking we could probably stun him, might be able to stun him through the bed somehow with magic, and then just lift it up and
Yeah.
physically.
We've got poison darts, but they're not very reliable.
I'll let you guys chew on that for a second, and I'll cut back inside to Idril, who you've been resting by the fire with Xanus, and I'm gonna have you roll a perception check.
Okay. And go.
There you go. You hear a little bit of a disturbance going on in the back area that kind of stirs you from your sleep as you hear this kind of clatter that's gone on. And Xanus does as well. And he says, it might be a fine time to stick our nose in and see what's going on around here. And so he steps over the pile and towards the doorway here. And as he gets, yeah, you can follow him. You get over towards the doorway, and there's a couple of his minions here that are sitting on watch, if you will, and they see you walking towards that direction, and they say, I'm sure everything's fine. It's just a bump in the night. I'm sure Master's fine. And it says, we need to have a word, and he walks right by him. They look like they're thinking for a moment of trying to stop him, and they just kind of let him walk by. And as they come, you guys come back in through here, Tartuccio is actually in the room, and you enter in with Xanus, and he says, everything all right, friend? To the gnome, who looks rattled after having lifted his bed, thinking there was a monster under it. And he says, everything is fine. Yes, of course. Thank you for checking. Wonderful to have you here as a guest. Is everything, your accommodations up to standard? Are you hungry? And he's flustered. Xanus says to him, what is the procedure for this entire fort to protect itself further from ambush and attack? Just hitting him with a tactical question to see if he has any plans around it. And he says, oh, I've outlaid many plans. I've left them with my officers, and they know exactly how to execute them. Who is in charge of your military and guards? He says, not now. We could talk about this in the morning. We could talk about this then. And you're getting the sense, Idril, too, that there's these other humans in the room who are keeping an eye on the whole thing and monitoring this conversation. And Xanus seems to be purposely doing that to get a sense of who they are and what their reaction will be to him pressing Tartuccio a little bit, mistreating Tartuccio, intimidating him a little bit. And so you can get a read on these guys that they look like they would jump to his protection. You get the sense that they would.
So they get Nancy.
Yeah. So I think, like, at this point, you could almost, like, on the edge of a knife, you could tilt this one way or the other if you wanted to push the right button on Xanus, or if you wanted to de-escalate it. You feel like you have the point of view to do that.
Ooh. How to tilt this to catastrophe?
It doesn't have to be. It's just, yeah, you're just noticing that Xanus is a little more reckless than you would be in this situation, given that there's these three unknowns lingering about that you don't know much about. So what would you do? Would you egg him on and forward or would you restrain him a little bit from pressing Tartuccio further?
You're gonna egg him on. There's something not right here. I mentioned something about Tartuccio. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tartuccio was not on the list of people that had.
Oh no, he is. He is on the list, but Xanus doesn't know him personally. He never met him before, so that you don't have anyone that could vouch for him. But his name's definitely on your list.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I don't know how I don't know how best to egg him on.
I think you might like ask a question on top of it to make it seem, yeah, this is exactly when we're gonna ask you questions. What
So,
question would you ask?
so what are the plans if you are to be invaded at this time of night? How are you going to sustain an attack from brigands, from thieves? What are your plans, little gnome?
We have archers and oil to start with. After that, if someone comes further, they'll have some other things to deal with. Our men are building, and we will have more numbers. We are
I mean,
gaining strength.
the rickety shack that you have over your heads.
I did not build it. I acquired it, and yes, I agree, it needs fixed. We
Hmm.
intend on pulling the resources from the local area to get this into the.
Well,
We have just
you are
come to
by no
power.
means ready.
Possibly. Watch it, elf. And as he does that, you see the other human to his side puts his hand on Tartuccio's shoulder. Not now, friend. Let's get some rest, and we can address this in the morning. And Tartuccio's kind of like giving you the stare down now. Doesn't like the Xanus at that point will he's seen what he needed to see. That proves that basically that who's in command is not probably Tartuccio. And so he says, we'll be talking again soon. Get some rest. And he will leave the room.
Go with him.
This time he's not going to return to the same place. He's going up to the tower. And
As we're going, I will mention Ox.
oh, yeah, Ox is up there. That's right. Yeah, so you could always take him in that direction towards where
I'll
Ox.
introduce him to Ox and see if Ox can help us nail down who took out the Stag Lord and who has the quote unquote rightful claim to this fort.
So I think, yeah, you guys can head up to the top floor. Let's see, where is it?
Trying to pick a fight with the gnome. So that way the people underneath the bed could pop out and
It didn't pop off.
There we go. Oh, I got paste. I got you twice. There we go. Okay, so yeah, you and Xanus could come up here, and I'll have him, or you introduce him to Ox, and Ox would be up here probably at this hour. He's actually awake, and so he's just sleeping and taking his own watch actually at night. So he's up, and you would see him milling about up here. You'd probably be able to show him the toy collection first, where Ox was normally at, and then later you could find Ox. Looks like he's cleaning up one of the decks down here that's been ruined by some of the battle scars.
so I don't know if you can see him down the stairs leading outside. Is that person still standing there, standing guard?
Yes. Yeah, I don't have him on this map. You're right. They're at the bottom of this step there.
No, no worries, no worries. Okay, yeah. Show him the toys. Repeat the name of the toys that he gave him, explaining that this is when this person came, this is when the Stag Lord came, and then show him the owlbear, and tell him this is what he remembers seeing when the owlbear was killed, or sorry, when the Stag Lord was killed.
Yeah, and I think as you're showing him the owlbear, Ox comes walking in. Says, "Hey, be careful with those toys."
Oh, of course. Sorry, Ox. Yeah, we're being very careful. I'm just showing this fine gentleman the lovely craftsmanship that you have.
Yes, and Xanus turns to Ox and says, "These are fine pieces. What of this owlbear? What is its part in the story?" And he suddenly gets a smile on his face. He says, "The Beaky. Beaky was my friend. Beaky was here for so long. Beaky killed father. Beaky killed father. Interesting. What do you do around here? Where do you come from?" "Oh, I do everything. I do what anything is needed. I've been here for many years. I am the keeper. I have joined many groups who have come and helped them. As long as they keep the fort, I will stay here." then I think your telling is important, and maybe we'll learn more from you. And so Xanus, I think, would like at that point find it comfortable to hang out here for the evening and have a conversation with Ox to inquire further about what the story was and confirm his knowledge that he indeed was here and did see what he saw. And again, I don't think he has all of the facts straight, but he certainly has
Right.
more legitimacy.
Taking all the notes.
Yeah, so you guys are on the roof getting that retelling and getting some rest still. As the folks in the basement, what are you up to? You're resting as well and waiting till morning? Is that...
I think we were trying to devise a way to. I don't know. I don't know. What's the general consensus? When do we want to?
Real quick, the mechanism with the bed lifts up and it opens up like to the section we're in. Is that how it?
It's like a hole in the floor. Yeah, it's like just a hole in the floor that was covered with a hatch that the bed sits on. It opens up into the room. It's not like a trap door that comes down, but yeah, so it would push up for you and
Just to reveal that spot, like the.
I think
Or
is
does it-
there if it's like a bed and you were able to see his feet dangling, I'm thinking it's like the bed is the top of the shaft that goes down, like the last.
so that the ladder
Feet is
kind
on
of
the
meets
top.
like the bottom of the bed. Yeah, yeah. So
Like a cigar box.
if you're looking at the, I don't know if I have you on the same map. Yeah, I guess I do. But at the Stag Lord's bed would hinge on this side towards the wall, right, and open up this way, revealing that space, if that's what you're asking. So if you, when you're coming out of here, the opening would be on this right-hand side.
That's all blacked out for me, so I can.
Oh, because your guys are downstairs.
You can click and drag your token over to it
Oh,
to
yeah.
reveal it.
Yeah.
Do you have to? So would we have to move the bed to get out of the shaft? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, you basically have to lift the bed in order to lift the hatch.
Yeah, I don't even think any of the small companions would be able to do it.
Would
No, probably not.
now
It'd be harder.
does like is that just the gap that's there? Like when the bed's down, there isn't just enough of a gap with that, or if we could remove the hatch, would we be able to get out?
No, you'd still have to, the bed still has to physically move for the hatch to open.
Okay.
But if you're waiting till morning, you guys can set up a watch down there, or I don't know how you wanted to do that.
I guess if we're setting up a watch, we're really just listening for a flurry of activity leaving the room.
Are you staying in that room at the bottom of
We still have an unknown creature behind us too. I'm not crazy about setting up a watch. Or we're in between a rock and a hard place. Yeah.
See, I'll let you guys for now just be considering your options, and let's see. Yeah, what else would you like to do? Any other questions before? All right. So I think then basically you guys would be trying to do some semblance of watch and rest in that room until the morning hours, and maybe you're pretty haggard, you're a little fatigued because you haven't had a proper night's rest and you stayed up all night watching both directions. But the morning comes and you do hear some noise upstairs, as you assume people are awake now and moving about. So it might occur to you to try to check the room again or do something now that you've heard them move off.
That's what we're here for. Let's go into the room. That was the whole idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stealth back up the ladder and give the bed a lift.
Yep. Yeah, take a peek.
Regardless of what's happening, I think.
See if you see anything first, and then if you don't, try to.
Yeah.
All right. Is anyone else stealthing?
I think we'll let him move the bed, and then we'll move up.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you're able to get up there and get it lifted enough to get through and into the room.
Is there a door anywhere in here?
Let me move your character in here. No, there's no door in this. There's exterior doors, but not interior.
Okay, Fennwarden's ready to go up. Reckla, do you want to go next, or do you want me to go next?
Yeah, Reckla will go next.
Okay.
He'll stealth just to try it.
I'll just slide into this little gap there.
Fennwarden makes a little more noise going upstairs.
All right, I'm gonna put.
Darius just has to roll 7 here. We've completed a nice little pattern.
All right, so yeah,
I
so you
took
guys.
the 3. That was the difference. And then just use that. I misunderstood the assignment.
It's yeah, and so it's you guys do all make your way up there. So I think everybody's in there. I gotta move Kirth in the room. Okay, so this is basically where we'll bring you guys together. Is so Xanus and Idril are going to now confront Tartuccio with their findings. And so Xanus and Idril, you guys compared your notes and talked this through after meeting with Ox last night, and you come down to meet with Tartuccio as you had planned. And so when you arrive in the room, Tartuccio is present with 3 of these 3 travelers who came in the night. A couple of other of his normal underlings are milling about here as well. And at the same time, unbeknownst to you, in the room next door, some folks are filing in. Xanus comes approaching towards Tartuccio and he says, "Good morning. Did you sleep well, gnome?" And before Tartuccio can even bring up an answer, he says, "What is the current situation with inventory?" And begins to demand the paperwork and the books for what's where. And he's tried to really test Tartuccio here, and looking at Idril as well, to fire off questions. This is like your guys' chance to call him out for some inconsistencies, or at least put him on the spot. Anything that you wanted to bring up?
What is the schedule for repairing this rubble? Tell me, where are you going to harvest the trees to expand the wall? When are you going to clear up everything around the towers, and when can we expect them to reach to the sky? This is a sad state of affairs.
He bites his lip. He turns. There's his quartermaster, who you spoke with earlier, sitting there with a bunch of paperwork, and he's saying, "I have all the numbers here. I have all the numbers here. It would take us. We're going to need some carts. It will take us several months to repair the interior, but we have a plan. We're going to need assistance from Restov, or somewhere else that's forthcoming with help."
So you're going to need money to kick up your feet instead of securing the outside. Is that what you're telling us?
I didn't say that. I don't know. It says here that it will take several months to fix that, of course. But again, we are going to need help from Restov. This is a strategic location, and we're going to need their help. We cannot rebuild this with just what we have here quickly, if that's
Well,
the
then we will
requirement.
need the paperwork, and we will need it post-haste.
And so he reluctantly starts to share some copies, hands some paperwork over to you. You guys who are sneaking up now, with over here in the next room, this somewhat loud kind of interrogation that's going on, and you're recognizing the voices of those travelers from Restov amongst Tartuccio's quivering voice. So, what would you like to do during this time that you're up?
I think Reckla might just walk in and say, "The problem with lying is that the truth always comes to the surface.
Ooh,
And you find yourself in over your head."
I love it. So, do you have like performance, or
Yeah, I have. What was it?
how do you feel about that intimidation check? That was
I
6.
just want to say I have intimidating glare as a skill.
Oh yeah,
as a
there you
feat.
go. That's even better.
So I'll add that on after the intimidation or the speech.
Nice. Yes. So I think like there would be a gasp in the room. What in the who in the? And Tartuccio and the others would turn to look. I'm gonna move that guy there to see that you've entered the room. And he says, "Indeed, something has surfaced. I see you found your way in through the back door.
We left that way. We thought maybe we'd come back in.
We're familiar with it because this is, after all, our fort.
Well, of course it is our fort. We have taken it together, and you've left me in
Well,
charge.
we are going-
But listen, this is not the time or
That's
place. I
interesting,
am speaking
because
with
we left
officials.
you somewhere else.
I don't know what they are speaking of. Listen, Xanus, listen. It can all be explained. All of the paperwork is there. And I don't know what else you want to know. We are here. We are working hard every day to bring this fort back to life.
They are quite beautiful banners, I'll give you that. It's very nice purple.
Bob Dwyer is
He'll
a nice-
actually be smirking in response. He'll very much take that compliment even in this moment. But he'll say,
The kobold bodies are a little uncouth.
A little much.
Yeah, and
Tartuccio, how did the
Wasn't-
stag
wasn't-
lord die?
wasn't Lady Jumanji's intention to supplant the bandits with more bandits?
"We are not bandits. I am here on a charter, the same charter as you.
Hmm.
And yet, why do you seem a thief?
I've stolen nothing."
You've stolen the truth.
Haven't you?
Tartuccio, how did the stag lord die? Where's his helm?
He was disemboweled. We all know the tale. This matters not. What matters
you do with
now
his
is
body?
who leads.
Yes, Tartuccio, who
So-
leads and who runs away once again?
So Xanus will say, "Enough. My colleague and I have seen everything we need to see. We will determine the path forward for who will rule and how the arrangement will be made. Surely we can arrive at something that would be beneficial for all, as the Stag Lord was not. We can all agree on that. We need not draw blood further. We need to arrange for..."
Here, that might not be entirely accurate. Much blood has been spilled that is unanswered. Tartuk, have you nothing to say?
He's like checking like the dirt under his fingernail while you're at looking, and he like looks around. Who?
Yeah, yes. Who indeed? Who would be there impersonating a kobold, ruling a band of kobolds, and then murdering a group of kobolds to come try to usurp a fort? Who indeed?
Yeah, anyone who allies with you, I would be cautious. You may find yourself in a similar state to those poor kobolds down below.
He kind of says, "Kobolds are nasty creatures when they want to be. But you
The
led
same can be said about gnomes. No offense, Reckla.
you led as many of kobolds to death as I did."
That's not it. Oh,
And he looks.
We marched into
Actually,
battle
what's
with kobolds.
we've actually brought one back with us. It's gonna step
Quite the
aside.
specimen.
Yeah, so as this is happening, basically, and this is more of side chatter at this point because Xanus and Idril have stepped back to have a private conversation about how they want to settle this dispute and move forward. Xanus, Idril kind of turns to you and he says, "What are our options?"
At this point, I think it's escalated. Don't think we have many options. We are outnumbered. Even if those newcomers are telling the truth, not sure we can trust them right off the bat, but we are still outnumbered. We do not have much. We do not have anyone else.
We will come then to some... We will have to use some diplomacy. But I feel like the proposal of a council might be the best way. I'm going to go forward with the proposal I told Lady Jamandi I may have to use. And that is, I'm going to make Tartuccio and yourself and this dastardly. I guess Voldarius is half-elven? Or what's...
Voldarius appears
half-elven. Yeah, so he's going
not.
to assume that. So he's going to say, in this half-elf, I'm going to put you on a council together. So that the majority must rule and decide on a way forward. And what are your thoughts on this?
It is the best way forward. I am not one to rule, that is for certain, so a council will be right up my alley.
You will bring them forward many years in raising their standards, and I'm sure that Lady Jamandi will recognize your contribution. I shall return to Restov and give her news that a council has been enacted. If they buy it, we'll see.
Raising their standards won't be hard.
Yes. But raising their glasses seems to be too frequent.
Yes,
So-
I smelled that.
All right, let's see how it goes. So, with that, he steps forward and says, "We have decided that this fort will be ruled going forward by a council of 3, and we appoint Tartuccio to this council. Idril from Restov will take the second seat at the council, and I will leave it to our party to decide who they want the third to be." And he's looking at the 4 of you. He would nominate someone who he thought, but he'll just look to you all to decide who would be the person to serve on this council of 3.
Reckla's trained in diplomacy. Since it's a count.
Right.
And
It's the only
Yeah,
thing
okay.
I can.
GM, as he's talking, what are those 3 guys in heavy armor doing?
They look like they're making eye contact with one another. They look uncomfortable, but they're not aggressive or talking. But yeah.
No clenched teeth, no gripping of swords or anything like that.
No, but they're definitely looking and staring at each other, and
What are we doing?
Yeah.
It does have warfare lore too, I just realized.
Yeah, Voldarius has other interests. So
Yeah, I think like appointing this person would be. Those are good things to look at, because this would be somebody who would be in charge of some of your king-making decisions, and diplomacy and other things would be good to have. If you want Reckla to serve on the council, then it is formed, and we will leave it for the majority to decide. And I shall remove myself and return to Restov with news that the fort is in disrepair but in good hands now. And we will send some. Lady Jamandi has promised to send some supplies, so you shall expect to receive some shipments in the coming days. But again, we will begin packing for our return trip. And yeah, Tartuccio doesn't seem like he's talking much now. He's
A little crestfallen.
so he's taken a big blow to his ego here, and he's having
How's
a tough
that
time.
humble pie taste?
Yeah, he's having a tough time with it, but at the same time, he's also assumed a position that he would have otherwise not had. But he's slippery and snuck his way into this position too. But yeah, I think that what you would notice is that these other gentlemen that seemed to be talking down to him somewhat are silent as well, and as is he.
If he's done and he made his little proclamation, whatever, then Voldarius is just going to walk past and through the room and head over to the front gate and up and bring the Southerners in.
Yeah.
And just unless someone's going to stop him, he's just going to go there, brush past everyone. If he can
The
hip
place.
check, yeah. If he can hip check Tartuccio as he walks by, having to avoid someone else, then he will.
Wouldn't that be more like a shoulder check with your hip?
But yeah, but he's
That's right on. Yeah.
Just going to have to hip to shoulder.
So yeah, you can definitely rub shoulders by Tartuccio as you walk through, and towards the front gate. I think Xanus is already up there doing his last look over, and he'll be speaking with Idril about keeping an eye on things and doing his best, and how good of an opportunity this will be for you to prove yourself to Restov. So, what else? Anything else? Good.
Yeah, those three gentlemen. Can you check around and see if anyone had sent the heavily armored duelist out here? Just, I have a funny feeling about them, and I'm not sure that they belong.
Yeah, there's something off there that we'll have to be aware of, that Tartuccio may be compromised. I tend to believe the other gnome, odd as it might be. But order at this point is to carry forward and to help in whatever way you can to advance our continued growth. And I'm sure news of this event will be well heard by Lady Jamandi, and your own ability to build a charter will benefit from this.
It will be done. Safe travels.
You be safe, friend. Xanus will say a few more words to those as he's leaving, but otherwise he will make his way back out. The Southerners will make their way in. Finally, good God. There's crazy stuff crawling around in the hills at night. We shouldn't have been wondering. It was boring. I'm hungry. So they file in, and you've got these four now that are coming in from the outside, and this would be, yeah, I think this would be probably midday. So at this point, they're making their way in, and they learn of the leadership, who's in charge, and you guys could give them orders and have them stationed and doing whatever tasks or assignments you want to give them, complex or simple. But
Yeah.
they're going to be your crew, if you will, of folks that you'll have direct control over versus like the ones that Tartuccio will be in more charge of, and then we'll build from there. And again, this is a part of transitioning into you guys controlling regions and stuff. But yeah, any thoughts about how you would break all of this to the Southerners who are just walking in clueless about some of this?
Yeah. Operating infrastructure of the fort might be a little. We're gonna have to start working with some of these a-holes. And we're gonna need you all to play nice. But don't put up with any shit.
Aye. We can do that. We'll bring this up to our standards. That seems like a good start.
Indeed.
Who else is in charge here? Who are we to trust? If we
Well,
cannot seek you out.
You must, yeah, definitely do not trust Tartuccio. He has eyes on greater prizes, and he's not ashamed to do what he thinks will get him those prizes. But Idril is our other council member, Fort Council. He is new to us, but seems straightforward and very logical mannered individual.
Oh, paperwork person. Gotcha. Understood. We'll be careful with that. They'll basically take on whatever tasks you guys would like. I guess in general, this is really for everybody now because you all get to decide, but you can basically give some orders at this point to have the available crew work on whatever upgrades or things of importance you guys think they should focus on, and then that doesn't affect you all. You can continue to do whatever you want and wander off and travel and whatnot, and they can be working towards those like short-term and long-term types of projects. So is there anything like that you would suggest as the council that you would want to work on? And again, you'd only have to convince one of the other council. So
yeah, I think number one would be clearing any debris and poor infrastructure, and gathering new materials, new building materials. I would say those are the two most important tasks.
Securing the back door.
Yeah, that's another one. I think Joe's muted. I saw him moving his lips. I couldn't hear him.
I'd say stocking provisions,
Okay.
hunting and getting meat laid aside, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so this is where, yeah, like we're gonna get into more of these roles. So I'm gonna try to pull up some of these so we can familiarize ourselves with a little bit of it. But let's see, and I'm just pulling some of this up, so this may not be the right thing. Hang on. The leader.
Now we'll walk up to the group of adventurers. A solemn bow of his head. It is a pleasure to meet you all. My name is Idril Ilwin of Kionan, by way of Restov. I know him, pointing over at Tartuccio with a bit of a smirk, but I do not know you. It looks like we are all in this together, and I hope that our adventures and our paths are smooth and gentle. And if not, I trust that we will be able to move mountains together.
Met. We share the sentiment. We always believe that working together we accomplish much more than we can when trying to work for ourselves.
And they will turn to Fennwarden and speak in Elven and just say it.
Yes, welcome. We will work well together.
If we have a hole that we can stick that little gnome over there in.
Indeed, we will find one just a bit too small.
I've never seen a gnome snake, but I believe that he might be one.
I think Xanus's last words before he left was, "Be careful. That snakes can sometimes be useful." And that was it. That was it. Before he rode off. But yeah, so there's a couple of things like in here where they talk about leadership roles that you can assign, similar to what we're just doing, but basically you'll decide on who's going to fulfill the leadership roles, and everyone will take on a different one, and then it helps give you bonuses as far as building your kingdom and getting certain assets and things like that, kingdom building skills. So I think we all probably want to brush up on this a little bit for the next session, but it's actually pretty well documented here. And if you just look through and consider, Fennwarden might have to be the warden, and just makes a lot of sense. He brings stability to the region. That makes sense. But yeah, so it's cool. These are things that we're going to get into, and we'll have you all decide who's going to be which leadership role. And you can assign these to your NPCs also. These can be Kirth and others can be assigned to these. I think it's Tartuccio, right? Is the treasurer, right? He seems like the best.
Definitely.
But yeah, anything else anyone wants to get into before we wrap up the session?
I never did get, because I missed the last game, where the Southerners came from, but I noticed that in a game before we had the followers of Lomade, they were priests, they promised to send help in the fort. Is that where these guys came from, or are we expecting additional
Great
help?
question. Yeah, no, those were additional. Those are additional. These are a separate group. These guys came from the Gnarl Marches, which is right south of Oleg's, and they looked a little rough around the edges, but they looked like they had their stuff together as far as being capable, and they fought alongside you all when you killed the Chimera. So they're actually pretty good in battle, and they seem to be looking for. They were looking. I think they were just pretty much looking for opportunity, and one of you gave them information about the fort, and they thought, okay, we'll go work at the fort, and then I think they just hitched a ride with you there. Essentially, is how that unfolded.
Essentially what it was is we knew we needed to man the fort. We were going to try and send word to Restov to have people come to man the fort, and we realized that these people who had taken over to keep Oleg's trading post running were the perfect option. So we invited them along.
You don't know a whole lot about them yet, but they seem to have, at this point, loyalty to you.
Good. All right. Maybe we'll get some more showing up that will also be loyal to us so that we can keep that thing's in balance with Tartuccio's.
Mm-hmm. There's like a roll that we'll make at the beginning of the sessions for like recruitment and stuff along those lines, so you'll get a sense of if you're growing in numbers or declining in numbers and things like that. And as you assign the leadership role for your group, then we'll do some checks, and then different things will start to happen too that will help you. So yeah, it's cool. We're finally, you guys have done a good job basically rounding the whole thing out now, and I didn't know if you would go for diplomacy or not. Like, I didn't know if it was gonna get bloody or not. So it was cool for me because I was just ready for, okay, I'm gonna kill this guy. I'm done. Just kept trying to push buttons.
Our hands are not far from our hilts. Let's say that.
Yeah. It was a diplomatic session,
Yeah.
but it was a good session of role playing and a good one to bring in a new player. Chris, it was awesome playing with you. Welcome to the party.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff indeed.
We'll
Thank you all.
That was fun.
Yeah, we'll do it again in 2 weeks. So yeah, thanks guys for the session. We'll talk later.
Awesome. Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
See y'all.
Bye.
Bye
Everybody.
bye.